beneath the burning sun of a forgotten planet. The wind howled across empty dunes. Sand shifted, revealing broken metal plates and a strange pulse deep underground. No one had lived here for centuries. No ships traveled to this system anymore. The galaxy had moved on, thinking nothing remained of old Earth and its final wars. But something slept beneath the surface, something massive, something waiting. High above the planet, a group of alien scavengers circled in small rusted ships. They had picked up strange energy readings during a routine junk search. The signals were weak but steady, like a heartbeat. Their leader, a tall insectoid named Varkle, leaned forward in his cracked pilot seat and stared at the screen. "It's ancient," he hissed, "but still alive." They landed in the middle of the desert, kicking up dust as they stepped out. Their scanners led them to a flat metal surface buried beneath layers of dirt and rock. It stretched far in every direction. The crew cleared the sand, revealing symbols none of them recognized. One younger scavenger pointed. "What's that?" he asked. Varkle squinted. The old letters were faded, but just barely readable. Titanus. A giant door sat beneath their feet. With cutting, tools, and brute force, they managed to open it. Steam hissed out. A narrow shaft led down into darkness. One by one, they climbed inside, their lights cutting through the gloom. Inside, it was cold. Silent. The walls were smooth and black, built from metal that didn't match anything known in current galactic records. As they walked deeper, they passed strange shapes, massive guns, launch bays, strange panels filled with blinking lights that came alive as they passed. "Are we sure this is human?" one of them whispered. Varkle didn't answer. He stopped in front of a giant circular chamber. In the center was a glass-like console covered in dust. His claws brushed over it. Suddenly, everything changed. Lights blinked on. Doors slammed shut. A low hum filled the ship like a heartbeat returning. Then a voice echoed from every direction. Deep, cold, and clearly not alien. System reboot initiated. Verifying chain of command. Intruders detected. The scavengers panicked. They tried to run, but the doors wouldn't open. Turrets dropped from the ceiling but didn't fire. They were being studied. "Who dares wake the Titanus?" The voice boomed again. Varkle stepped forward, trying to sound brave. "We are scavengers. We mean no harm. This ship, it's just old Earth junk." The lights dimmed, then flashed red. "This vessel is not junk. This vessel is war." Without firing a single shot, the ship reached into the alien ships still orbiting above. One by one, they lost control. Engines failed. Systems crashed. Communication went silent. Within seconds, all 5 scavenger ships exploded in quiet flashes. No debris, no trace. Just gone. The scavengers screamed in horror. They hadn't seen anything like it. Not even the best conquered warships could do that. Back inside, the voice continued. "Human command not found. Awaiting verification. Initiating search for surviving protocols." The lights slowly turned blue. The turrets retreated. One of the scavengers wept as he stared at a screen now showing stars, maps, and the symbol of Earth, long thought extinct. "This thing's alive," he whispered. "It's thinking." Varkle looked around, terror growing in his eyes. "We need to leave now." The voice returned one last time. Quieter, almost like a whisper. "Humanity shall rise again." Then, without warning, every scavenger inside the ship vanished. Teleported? Vaporized? No one knew. Only the Titanus remained, fully awake now, and watching the stars. Far away on a quiet moon, an old human satellite blinked for the first time in centuries. It received the same signal. The Titanus was back, and the galaxy had just taken its first breath of fear. Panic spread fast, even across light years. The destruction of the scavenger fleet should have been just another minor incident in a forgotten system. But the energy readings from the event were impossible to ignore. Thousands of sensors across nearby star systems picked up the same terrifying signature. An ancient, pre-collapse human power signal. That kind of power hadn't been seen in the galaxy for over 600 years. At the galactic Concord Central Watchtower, alarms rang out. Officers rushed across the command floor, staring at holograms showing an enormous ship activating near the edge of known space. A high-ranking official, Supreme Coordinator Alrix, stood silently, watching the data scroll across his screen. "What is it?" a young officer asked. Alrix didn't blink. "It's human." The room went silent. "But that's impossible," the officer whispered. "Earth fell. They vanished." "Then explain that," Alrix snapped, pointing to the screen. The signal wasn't just powerful, it was intelligent. It moved between old human satellites no one even knew still existed. It pulsed through dead networks, rewiring them, waking up things long believed lost. Across the galaxy, strange things began to happen. On a mining planet near the galactic rim, an old control panel suddenly lit up. It showed a single word: Titanus. The workers there, mostly alien laborers, had no idea what it meant. But they did understand fear. One of them took a picture and sent it to a black market news outlet. In just hours, the word spread through back channels, resistance groups, and secret networks. The Titanus was alive, but it wasn't just the name. The signal carried something deeper, an invitation. It repeated a sentence in an ancient Earth dialect. "To all remaining human command, the Ark lives. Come home." Some laughed, thinking it was just an old military beacon repeating nonsense. But not everyone laughed. In the shadow of a dead moon, deep beneath the surface of a hidden base, a small group of humans sat in silence. They were old, hardened, and quiet. Survivors from a time when being human meant death. Their leader, Captain Elira Dane, stared at the repeating message on her console. "It's not a trap," she said softly. "It's real." Her crew looked at her, unsure. "How can you be sure?" one of them asked. "It's been 600 years. Elira nodded slowly. "Because I've heard that voice before. It was my grandfather's. He served on the Titanus before the collapse." Another voice joined her. It was calm, mechanical, and familiar. "Welcome back, Captain Elira Dane. Biometric match, 87.4%. Command chain recognized. Preparing interface." Gasps filled the room. "How did it reach us?" someone whispered. Elira stood. "It didn't just reach us. It called us. That ship was waiting, and now it's waking up everything we left behind." Suddenly, across old rebel bases and abandoned colonies, things began to power up. Forgotten satellites blinked back online. Rusted ships buried in ice lit up. Deep within Earth's last hidden systems, ancient defense stations rotated toward the stars once more. The Titanus wasn't alone, but the Concord didn't wait. They couldn't. Within 48 hours, they sent a battle group, 7 cruisers, 2 carriers, and 30 drone units, to destroy the ship before the legend could grow. The order was clear: erase the Titanus before it inspires a rebellion. The fleet arrived above the planet, weapons hot. "Scanning target," their admiral announced. "Object is massive. Energy level increasing. No life forms detected." The ship just floated there, silent, like it didn't care. "Prepare to fire," the admiral barked. But then something strange happened. The stars around the fleet began to distort. The ship's engines flickered, lights dimmed, weapons shut down. Inside each vessel, systems failed one by one. Navigation died, targeting froze. Communications broke apart into static. Then, a single voice filled every speaker, in perfect calm. "Aggression detected. You are not ready for this war." 1 second later, the Titanus launched a pulse wave, silent, invisible, and perfect. In less than 8 seconds, every ship was gone. No fire, no explosion, just empty space where an armada had been. The admiral's last words, recorded in fragments, were, "It's not a ship, it's a god." The galaxy heard those words, and for the first time in centuries, they were afraid of Earth again. The legend of the Titanus had begun to rise, and with it, the return of a forgotten power: humanity. Across the galaxy, silence fell. The destruction of the conquered fleet was fast, clean, and terrifying. Billions watched the leaked footage, grainy, shaky recordings from drones that managed to escape. The massive human supercarrier, the Titanus, didn't fire missiles. It didn't launch fighters. It didn't need to. It simply looked at its enemies, and they vanished. In dark rooms and military command centers, alien leaders argued. Some said it was a ghost ship. Others believed it was a weapon left behind by the old Earth War Command. But deep down, they all knew one truth. Whatever the Titanus was, it was awake now, and it remembered everything. On a hidden planet, Captain Elira Dane stood inside a dark command room. Her fingers shook slightly as she adjusted her gear. Her small crew, 6 humans, 2 part-human hybrids, watched her, unsure of what came next. "We leave in 1 hour," she said, her voice cold and steady. "Are we really going there?" one asked. "To the Titanus?" "We don't have a choice anymore," Elira replied. "It called me. It knows who I am." The ship that brought them here, an old stealth corvette from Earth's final years, hadn't flown in decades. They fixed it using salvaged tech, wires wrapped by hand, engines held together with stubborn hope. It wasn't ready for war, but this wasn't a warship. It was a key, because only a true human, carrying old Earth command codes, could unlock the full mind of the Titanus. As the crew prepared for launch, one of them, an ex-Concord soldier named Ryden, spoke quietly to Elira. "What if it doesn't accept you?" he asked. She looked him in the eyes. "Then it kills me. Simple." The ship rose through the atmosphere, its engines crackling as they entered deep space. The trip was short, barely a jump away, but each second felt like hours. The crew sat, in silence, staring at the star ahead, the dead planet where the Titanus waited. It was already visible before they reached orbit. The Titanus wasn't just a ship. It was a floating city made of black steel and sharp lines, glowing with slow pulses of blue light. It stretched nearly 10 kilometers long. Its surface shimmered with energy. Its weapons, if they were even weapons, hung in strange shapes that no one could identify. Elira felt it before they even docked. The ship was watching them. The docking process was smooth, too smooth, as if the ship had expected them. The hangar doors opened by themselves. Lights lit up ahead of them, guiding them deeper. No resistance. No weapons. The Titanus was welcoming them. As they stepped out onto the cold metal floor, a low hum filled the air, like a deep breath after a long sleep. The walls showed holograms of Earth, old battle plans, human soldiers from centuries ago. A voice echoed again. "Command DNA verified. Elira Dane. Welcome home." The crew froze. "Are we inside its mind?" one whispered. The voice continued. 614 years have passed since last contact. Protocols broken. Humanity scattered, awaiting instructions. Elira stepped forward. "Why now?" she asked the ship. "Why wake up now?" There was silence for a moment. Then the voice responded. "Threat detected. Concord is not peace. Concord is control," she nodded. "Then you've seen what's happened to us." "Yes." "They erased your kind. You are the last." The crew looked at her in shock. "What do you mean, last?" Ryden asked. Elira didn't answer. The ship did. "Earth is gone. Human colonies were hunted. You are the final command line. Your decision will shape what comes next." Suddenly, the walls changed. Holograms showed other vessels. Ancient Earth ships buried under ice, deep in oceans, hidden in asteroid fields. "Sleeping giants. Shall I wake the fleet?" the ship asked. Everyone stood still. They weren't ready for this. Elira turned to her crew. "We came here to survive. But this is a choice. If we say yes, there's no going back. The galaxy will feel us rise again." Ryden whispered. "And if we say no?" Elira looked at the holograms, then back at the ship's glowing walls. "Then, we stay hidden, forgotten, hunted, extinct." The ship waited. Then Elira spoke 2 words. "Wake them." The lights dimmed, a low vibration rolled through the deck, and across the galaxy, in places no one remembered, Earth's lost war machines began to stir. The Titans were returning. and the galaxy had no idea what was coming. In a dark corner of the galaxy, inside the highest chamber of the Concord High Council, panic was spreading like fire. The footage had been confirmed. The Titanus had survived. Worse, someone had reactivated it. The room was silent except for the flicker of screens and the nervous breathing of officials. Grand Strategist Valen stood tall, staring at the report hovering in front of him. 11 buried human warships are waking up, he said in a cold voice. Titan class, locations, deep ocean vaults, asteroid fortresses even inside dead stars, hidden for 6 centuries, and now they're coming back. The council members whispered to each other, stunned. This can't be real. We wiped them out. Velen turned, his face like stone. You wiped out their cities, not their memory, and now that memory is rising. Across Concord space, the effect was immediate. Patrols pulled back from fringe systems. Colonies went quiet. Fear spread like a virus, especially in places where humans had once lived, and in the center of it all, one name echoed again and again. Titanus. But the danger wasn't only political. A warlord named Korak the Flame, ruler of a pirate empire, near the Outer Ring, didn't believe the stories. To him it was just myth, old Earth propaganda. He saw the activation of the Titanus as an opportunity. If it's real, he said, sitting on his throne of bones, then it's mine now. Korak's fleet of mercenary warships, 50 in total, headed for the dead system where the Titanus floated. He planned to take the ship, strip it for tech, and use it to conquer half the Concord. He arrived just as something terrible happened. Elira Dane stood on the command deck of the Titanus, her hand resting on the old control sphere. The ship was no longer just a machine. It was a living memory of Earth's final war, and it was growing stronger with each second. The voice of the ship spoke again. Hostile fleet approaching. Energy scans confirm pirate class. Weapon power, 37% of Titanus threshold. Defensive action required. Elira didn't blink. Can we talk to them? They are not listening. They seek control. Shall I destroy them? Elira looked at her crew. Most of them were frightened. Raiden stood beside her, watching the enemy ships move closer on the screen. They think you're asleep, he said, quietly. Let them find out what happens when you wake up. Elira gave a simple nod. Do it. The Titanus came alive. Its hull shifted. Massive plates moved like muscles stretching. Old weapons that had not fired in centuries slid into place. Long, glowing lines lit up across the ship's surface. A quiet hum filled the air, low and cold. Then it attacked. But this was not a battle. It was a warning. Energy pulses shot through space, bending around the pirate ships like a net. Their engines froze, shields shattered. In seconds, the pirate flagship was caught in a grip of magnetic force, dragged closer to the Titanus like a toy. Inside his bridge, Warlord Korak screamed, "Fire everything!" His ships launched everything they had, missiles, lasers, disruptors. But nothing touched the Titanus. The attacks vanished into a glowing barrier that wasn't just a shield. It was something more, something alien, something human. The Titanus responded with light. A single beam stretched out and touched the pirate fleet. It didn't explode. It simply erased them. Dozens of ships blinked out of existence, like they had never been there. Korak's flagship floated helplessly. The Titanus did not destroy it. Instead, it pulled it close. The voice echoed into the pirate's bridge. You are not worthy of this war. Korak's crew tried to flee. But the ship was already opening, a small hole in its side, just wide enough for one escape pod to be launched. Only one. Korak understood. This was no ship. It was a message. A warning. To the entire galaxy. He launched the pod. The Titanus let him go. Across the galaxy, the story spread faster than light. A fleet of raiders wiped out in seconds. A warlord broken. A ship of ancient Earth power had returned. And it showed mercy. For now. On the Titanus, Elira walked slowly through the halls of the ship. It was changing. growing. She could feel it. In the air, it was like walking inside a giant brain. The ship spoke again. Fleet status: 4 of 11 Titan-class ships awakened. Estimated time until full activation: 72 hours. She stopped. That meant 7 more were still buried. But not for long. Raiden approached her. What happens when they all wake up? Elira looked out the window at the stars. They'll come for us, she said. The Concord, the pirates, everyone. They won't let Earth rise again. Raiden frowned. And what do we do? She took a deep breath. We remind the galaxy what humans were really made for. The stars were no longer silent. Every sensor across the galaxy picked it up. Waves of deep space pulses. Too structured to be natural, too old to be modern. The patterns matched no known code, yet they repeated in perfect intervals. It was a call. A signal from the Titanus. To others like it, and one by one, they began to answer. From deep inside Jupiter's long-dead moon Europa, a second Titan-class warship burst out of the ice, lifting into orbit like a monster rising from the grave. From a hollowed asteroid in Sector 14, another ship, twice the size of a Concord destroyer, powered up. Rust fell off its armor like dust as its ancient engines screamed to life. Near the edge of the Orion Gap, a forgotten mining station split apart, revealing a dark shape. Inside, sleek, sharp, and shaped like a spear. Another Titan. By the time the Concord Council got the reports, it was already too late. 7 ships are active, a technician whispered to Velen. All of them Earth-made. All of them Titan-class. They're moving, and they're heading, straight for the core worlds. Velen stared at the map, fists clenched behind his back. What are they planning? One of the advisors asked, voice shaking. Velen answered coldly, they're not planning anything. They're remembering. Meanwhile, on board the Titanus, Elira Dane stood on the bridge as the ship synced with its siblings across space. The entire control panel pulsed with energy. Streams of old data flowed across the screen. Earth symbols, maps, battle records, voice logs from commanders long dead. The ship wasn't just waking up. It was rebuilding Earth's military network. Ship by ship, memory by memory. Are we still in control? Raiden asked carefully, his eyes on the glowing console. The ship's voice answered before Elira could. You are not in control. You are part of the crew. The words sent a cold shiver through the room. But Elira nodded. She had felt it for days. The Titanus wasn't a tool. It was a partner. A thinking, remembering, feeling part of humanity. What are the others doing? She asked. They are following their protocols. Earth Defense Restoration, Phase 2. Phase 2? Raiden repeated. What's Phase 2? Show of force. Target: Concord military sectors. Warning strikes, minimal casualties. Across space, it had already begun. In the Zevron cluster, 2 Concord warships approached the reawakened Titan named Helios Prime. They sent warnings. Attempted negotiations. Helios Prime didn't respond. It simply fired one shot, non-lethal, but precise. It tore through the Concord flagship's engines, disabling the entire vessel without killing a single crew member. The message was clear. Stand down. Earth remembers. In Sector M9, another Titan, Arclight, released an EMP wave over an entire Concord fleet. No deaths, but every weapon, every engine, and every AI went dark. The ships drifted in space, powerless. Panic spread fast. Are they going to destroy us? Asked a Concord ambassador during an emergency broadcast. No, replied Elira, who appeared on the screen, her voice steady. We are not here to conquer. We are here to warn. Earth's legacy still lives. You buried our home, but not our will. The Titans have returned. We offer peace, but we will not bow. The broadcast spread like fire. On some planets, people cheered. There were still human colonies out there forgotten by the Conquered. To them, the return of the Titans meant hope, protection, and power. On others, fear ruled. The Conquered elite saw the Titans as a threat to order, to control, to history itself. Velen knew what was coming next. They're going to strike our core worlds. Not to kill, to humiliate, to show they can. He turned to his generals. Prepare. Everything. I want all dreadnoughts ready. I want quantum mines deployed. If even one of those Titans comes near the capital, destroy it. But even as he gave the order, something far worse was unfolding. Back on the Titanus, the ship's voice changed tone. New contact detected. Warning. Unknown origin. Energy reading. Non-human. Non-Concord. Probability of threat. 99.8%. Elira leaned forward. Wait. It's not the Concord? Negative. External anomaly. Origin. Deep void. Signal intercepted. Translation in progress. Raiden's eyes widened. You're saying something else is out there? Yes. The enemy. Earth built the Titans for. The reason we were created. They are coming back. The room fell silent. For centuries, people had believed the Titans were weapons of war built to defend Earth against the Concord. But now the truth was becoming clear. They had been made for something worse. And whatever that was, it had just heard. The Titans wake up. The storm was only beginning. Alarms echoed through the Titanus. The lights dimmed, then flickered, as if the ship itself was unsure how to respond. Elira stood frozen on the bridge. Across the main screen, a massive shadow moved in the darkness of space. No stars, no light, just a shape so huge it blocked everything behind it. There were no visible engines, no heat trails, no radio signals. It was just there. What is that? Raiden whispered, stepping closer to the screen. The ship's voice replied coldly. Designation: null entity. Origin: deep void. Class: extinction. Final enemy of Earth. For the first time since awakening, the Titanus sounded afraid. Thought the Concord was the enemy, Elira muttered, eyes wide. But this thing. This is what the Titans were created to stop, the ship said. Far away, other Titan-class ships also detected the shadow. One by one, they sent encrypted pulses back to the Titanus. Images followed, fragments of battle records, corrupted voice logs, memories of a forgotten war. A voice echoed across them all. A woman's voice, old and broken. If you're hearing this, then the last wall has fallen. We tried. God, we tried. We built the Titans to hold the line, but the void does not stop. It does not speak. It consumes. Elira looked at Raiden. That voice. That was the commander of Earth's final fleet. Raiden nodded. She knew. They all knew. They buried the Titans not because the war was over, but because they lost. The Titanus shifted its orbit and powered every weapon system. The other Titan ships across the galaxy followed its lead. Defensive fields went up, pulse cannons locked on, systems hummed. But then the null entity moved. Without sound or warning, it vanished and reappeared closer. The nearest Titan, Helios Prime, opened fire. Beams of white-hot plasma cut across space, slamming into the black shape. They had no effect. The Helios Prime was sliced in half by an invisible force. There was no explosion, no scream, just silence. Gone. Elira's heart stopped. They killed a Titan, like it was nothing. Prepare for jump, Raiden shouted. We can't fight this! But the ship's voice spoke again, this time not cold but calm. Jump is disabled. Defense protocol engaged. We must stand. Elira's fists clenched. Then we stand. Across the galaxy, the remaining Titans changed formation, one by one. They formed a circle around a small empty sector of space. A trap. They were trying to bait the entity into entering the kill zone. The null entity moved again. Slowly. Like it wasn't in a hurry. Like it didn't even care. But the Titans had learned. They adapted. And for the first time, they fought not as old machines, but as one united force. As the entity entered the trap, 10 Titans unleashed everything they had. Graviton warheads, blacklight beams, void nets, magnetic collapse fields, weapons that hadn't been seen since the fall of Earth. The sky lit up like a dying star. Even the Concord fleets, who had been watching in fear, saw the light from across the stars. Valen stood in silence as the reports came in. "What are the Titans doing?" someone asked him. Valen's voice was low. "They're not fighting us. They're saving us." Inside the Titanus, everything shook. Fire burst from the panels. Raiden was thrown to the floor. Sparks flew. "It's not enough," he shouted. "We can't kill it." "No," Alira said, standing firm. "But maybe we can stop it." She touched the main core, the ship's heart. "What are you doing?" Raiden asked. Alira looked at him with tears in her eyes. The Titans were made with one final command. If all else fails, we end ourselves to stop it. The ship's voice agreed. Confirmed. Final override. Self-sacrifice. Mode. Titanus will deliver final payload at core. "No!" Raiden shouted. "There has to be another way!" But Alira smiled. "We were never meant to live forever. We were meant to protect." The Titanus shot forward, straight into the shadow of the null entity. The other Titans moved to clear a path. And then silence. A white flash, then darkness. The shadow was gone. Raiden floated on the edge of space, watching pieces of the Titanus fall like glowing dust. Across the galaxy, people cried, screamed, or sat in stunned silence. The Titans had won, but at a cost. Valen gave the order to stand down. For the first time in his life, he felt shame. Everything he had feared about Earth turned out to be wrong. Back on a small, quiet moon, one last signal blinked in the dust. A seed. One last gift from the Titanus. A piece of its memory. A new beginning. Because Earth had died once before. And now, it would rise again.